All right, so get this, right? You send in your request for a deep dive on NBA trades, and bam, the basketball gods, they deliver like a September surprise here.
Oh, yeah.
That's got everybody talking. We are talking Knicks.
Yeah.
Trading for Karl-Anthony Towns level UGE.
Yeah, this is not just any trade.
Yeah.
This is like seismic shift, ripple effects you might not see coming.
So you've got this CBS Sports article, and it's breaking down the deal. Obviously, the Knicks land Towns, massive get.
Yeah.
But to Minnesota, they're sending Randle. They're sending Donte DiVincenzo and a first-round pick. It's like they cleaned out their locker and threw in a gift card just for,
To sweeten the deal, right?
just to sweeten the pot a little bit.
It's a bold move. Got to give him that. You don't see all-star caliber players like Towns moved around like trading cards,
Right.
especially not right before the season's about to tip off. This tells me the Knicks, they're done. They're all in on this season.
And by all in, we're not just talking any kind of,
Right.
let's make the playoffs move. This article, it uses some big words. It calls Towns arguably the best big man shooter in NBA history.
Oh, wow.
That's not nothing.
That's not hyperbole. I mean, you look at his numbers, it's hard to argue with.
So that changes, like fundamentally changes how the Knicks can even play the game of basketball.
100%. Think about like when the Suns were rolling with Nash and Stoudemire, defenses, they're stuck. You double team Nash, TJ Meyer is going to eat you alive. You stay home on their shooter. Nash is going to carve you up. Towns gives the Knicks that same gravity on offense.
So instead of defenses being able to just load up on Brunson when he's driving to the hoop or deny R.J. Barrett when he's trying to get to the basket, now they got to worry about like Towns just catching fire from way downtown.
Exactly. It's like those driving lanes open up for Brunson. RJ's got more space to attack the basket, like dominoes,
Yeah.
But in a good way, for Knicks fans at least.
Okay, I'm starting to see why the Knicks were willing to give up so much in this deal. But like, flip the script. What about the Timberwolves?
Right.
It's not every day you see a team trade away, essentially, a franchise player. What's the thought process there?
It's true. And the article kind of hints at a couple things going on in Minnesota. Number one, Towns' contract. Massive.
Yeah.
Like, by moving him, they get some financial, some breathing room, which is huge in a league with a salary cap, right?
So a little bit of house cleaning on the financial side makes sense if they're shifting how they're building the team.
Exactly, which brings us to point two here. They might be hitting reset, but not the way you'd think.
Okay.
They're not blowing it up. They're betting on a different timeline now. They've still got a guy by the name of Anthony Edwards,
Right.
And he's could be something special. This could be about giving him the keys to the car.
Okay.
And letting him just,
So instead of like the Twin Towers of Towns and Gobert, it's
Right.
Edwards is the main attraction now.
Correct.
What about the guys they got back though?
Sure.
Randle and DiVincenzo. What are those?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Randle, if you think back to,
Right.
those Knicks teams where he was kind of the focal point.
Yeah.
He could fill it up. He can get to the basket. He can hit those mid-range jumpers. He can even create for others.
Yeah.
Now imagine him with a little less pressure, right?
Right.
You got Edwards there now to draw all the attention from the defense.
It's like he's going back to his roots a little bit,
Yeah.
Less pressure to be the guy, more opportunity to just like
Exactly. Pick your spots.
Yeah.
Exploit those mismatches, and then you bring in DiVincenzo, and think about what the Bucks did. When they added Brook Lopez,
Right.
they needed spacing. They needed someone who could knock down shots, open up the floor for Giannis. DiVincenzo can be that guy in Minnesota, that reliable three-point threat. Defenses, they can't just ignore him.
So you're saying the Timberwolves, maybe they're going for a different style now, right?
Potentially, yeah.
Less size, more speed, more, guys who can shoot the ball.
It's a risk,
Yeah.
but when you've got a talent like Edwards, maybe that's a risk you're willing to take.
Yeah, because the potential is definitely there. Like, you can imagine that lineup.
Oh, absolutely.
Edwards, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, spreading the floor.
Right.
Randle doing his thing from everywhere.
And you can't forget about Jaden McDaniels,
Right.
He's poised for a breakout year.
Yeah.
So you've got all this offensive firepower. It's a nightmare for opposing coaches.
Okay, so you've got the Knicks,
Okay.
right? They're going all in on winning now.
Right.
Timberwolves, maybe they're looking a little bit more long-term here. You mentioned ripple effects, though.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to the rest of the league after a trade this big?
That's where this gets really interesting, right? Because the article, it mentioned Gobert.
Right.
And now you start to think,
Right.
if they're really committing to this new timeline,
Yeah.
do they maybe move him too?
Whoa, that's a thought. That's a thought. Because he's
one of the best defensive
players in the league, and there are always teams that are looking for that.
For sure. I mean, you think about a team like the Hawks.
Right.
They need someone to protect Trae Young.
Right.
Or the Mavericks.
Oh, yeah.
They need someone to help Luka out on that end of the floor.
So this one trade
It's like a
was
dossier.
cut off like a chain reaction of moves across the league.
Absolutely.
But bringing it back to the two teams here, you've got the Knicks trying to win a championship.
Right.
Timberwolves kind of like, betting on the future.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think comes out ahead in all this?
It's almost impossible to say, and that's what makes this whole thing so fun. The Knicks, they've got the star power on paper.
Yeah.
But can they make it work on the court?
Yeah.
The Timberwolves, they've got this potential superstar in Edwards. But will their gamble, will it pay off?
It's like we're watching two different games, right? But they're on the same court.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
You know what they say. Everybody's got an opinion, especially when it comes to basketball.
That's for sure.
What's your gut saying? Who made the smarter move here?
Honestly, it's way too early to tell. And that's kind of the beauty of it all, right? It just throws all those predictions out the window.
Right.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. And I think that makes it that much more fun to watch.
Remember like at the beginning of the article when it was talking about how this is like a rare September blockbuster?
Yeah.
This is not something that happens every day.
For sure.
So that's got to have fans. Like,
oh, yeah.
Especially Knicks fans.
Yeah, they've been waiting for this.
They've been waiting for, a contender.
Absolutely, for years.
And now they've got Towns.
Yeah.
They've got Brunson.
Yeah.
They've got R.J. Barrett.
That's a fun team on paper.
Madison Square Garden's going to be, electric this season.
No doubt. No doubt.
But what about, the Timberwolves fans? I mean, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some bittersweet feelings there, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing a guy like Towns, a franchise player. He's moving on.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe there's a little bit of excitement,
Right. Yeah.
This is a young team, and now they've got a direction. They've got an identity.
Yeah, it's a fresh start.
And who knows? Maybe a few years down the road, they're the ones lifting that trophy.
I think this trade just reminds us that the NBA is about way more than just, who wins and who loses.
100%.
It's a story.
It's like a movie.
Really?
It's, constantly playing out. You got your twists and turns. You've got your big personalities.
Drama.
Yeah.
More drama than you can shake a stick at. And this is just the beginning. We still got, training camps to get through.
Oh, yeah.
Preseason games. Got to analyze everything.
Got to overanalyze everything. It's part of the fun.
And then open night, baby. That's when the real fun begins.
That's when the real games start. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
So there you have it. Our deep dive on this blockbuster NBA trade. We've broken it down from every angle. But now it's up to you.
That's right. You decide.
Are you riding with the Knicks? Or are they going to go all the way?
Or are you Team Timberwolves?
Are you betting on the future? One thing's for sure. This NBA season just got a whole lot more interesting.